Once upon a time, away up in the jungle where Mr. Stripes the tiger lives among the bamboos, and where Mr. Hiss the snake crawls among the grass, and where Mr. Chatter the monkey chatters among the treetops all day long, there was born a little baby boy with little pink fingers and little pink toes and the dearest little turned-up nose. His mother thought he was the sweetest little baby boy that ever lived in all the world. And she loved him, and she cuddled him, and she loved him, and she cuddled him all day long. When he was about 6 months old, he began to... Once upon a time, away over in our jungle home, we had a pet hen called Cluck Cluck. When she was sitting on her first nest of eggs, I often called in to see her and would say, "Well, Cluck Cluck, how are you this morning? Is everything quite all right?" And Cluck Cluck would say, "Cluck, cluck, 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 cluck." And I could easily imagine she was trying to say, "Yes, thank you, everything is just fine." As the days went by, we could hardly wait to see her little golden chickens. "Well, Cluck Cluck," I said one morning, "isn't it about time some of your little chickens were coming out of their shells?" And Cluck Cluck said, "Cluck, cluck, 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 cluck. It won't be long now, it won't be long now." And just then I heard a little noise. Tap, 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 tap. And I looked, and one of the eggs had a crack and a little hole in it. And I listened, and inside I could hear a faint little pip, 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 as the little chicken worked away to open up its shell. A little later, I ran home to call Mother and the children, and by the time we got back to the chicken house and looked through the window, there we saw a little golden fluffy chicken standing right beside Cluck Cluck, and he was saying pip, 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 pip. So I said to the children, "I know. Let's call that little chicken Pip Pip, shall we?" And all the children said, "Oh, yes." So we called him Pip Pip. By evening, Pip Pip had 10 little chicken brothers and sisters, but Pip Pip was the biggest of all. We threw down some broken rice and watched to see what Cluck Cluck would do. Carefully she stood up, got off the nest, stretched her wings, then said, "Cluck, cluck, cluck, cluck," and it sounded just like chicken talk for, "Now, little chickens, you just watch me, and I'll teach you what to do." Then Cluck Cluck went scratch, 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 peck, 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 and all the little chickens went scratch, 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 peck, 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 and Cluck Cluck was talking to them all the time, and the little chickens were saying, "Pip, pip, 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 all right, Mother, all right, Mother." And when the big round sun began to set, Cluck Cluck called, "Cluck, cluck, 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 cluck." And she seemed to be saying, "Come on, little chickens, it's time to go to bed now." And all the little chickens said, "Peep, peep, 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 all right, Mother, all right, Mother." And they followed her into the nest and cuddled down underneath Cluck Cluck's wings and went sound asleep. The next day the little chickens had their lessons again. Cluck Cluck went scratch, 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 peck, 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 and all the little chickens went scratch, 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 peck, peck, peck. Then Cluck Cluck took them to the water dish and went sip, 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 and all the little chickens went sip, 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 sip. And at night, when the big round sun began to set, she called, "Cluck, cluck, cluck, come on, little chickens, it's time to go to bed now." And all the little chickens answered, "Pip, pip, 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 pip," and they followed her into the nest and cuddled down under Cluck Cluck's wings and went fast asleep. One morning, while they were all busy going scratch, 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 peck, 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 sip, 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 old Mr. Hawk flew through the sky and saw those lovely golden chickens.